reality is, the more risk you take, the luckier you get. So people need to learn to take one big risk a day. Every day take a risk and build up that risk muscle, because risk is where success comes.
Risk must be taken for the greatest. Hazard in life is to risk nothing.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time.
I think that most people, the reason that they lack success in their life is that they lack the courage to make the decisions that need to be made to put them in the position that they want to be in.
You can get so scared, and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking in your 20s in particular, dead fucking wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Welcome to R2R Wreck to Riches. Don't forget to smash that like button, drop a comment, subscribe. You guys know the drill. Get that out there on Twitter. Get the algorithms going. And before we start, you guys know the drill. Always remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I am for damn sure not a professional. This is for pure entertainment purposes only. Don't ever allow an influencer on any social media platform out there to influence you when it comes to cryptocurrency, because you could get wrecked. Now that we got that out the way, we're going to bring onto the stage here for a live interview with Peter Wise, the founder of Wise Token, founder of the Wise Lending, and now the ecosystem that has evolved into RWA vaults. Let's go ahead and bring on Peter here. There you are. How's it going, man?
Good. Thanks for the invite. Good to be here, man.
Yeah, I got to catch up with you real quick backstage. That been a big supporter of your platforms, and Wise Token was the first one way back then. It's been a while now. I in my world, you need no introduction, right? But I know there's a lot of new users in crypto this cycle, especially. So just want to give you a moment to kind of just introduce yourself and just tell the people a little bit about your background, how you got into crypto, and where you're at today.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Peter. Like you said, I got into crypto in 2017. I come from a military background. I joined the military in 2007 after college, and I was in until just recently, 2022, got out. But I got into crypto and went down the rabbit hole of crypto in 2017. In 2019, I started putting together a team to start building the Wise ecosystem. And then in December 2020, we launched Wise Token. That's what we're most known for, because we raised a lot of Ethereum and made what's now the biggest liquidity pool on Uniswap, the Wise ETH liquidity pool. So that's what we're known for. That was 5 years ago. And we've been building DeFi apps ever since. We built Wise Lending, which is an on-chain lend borrow app. And then now our flagship product is in a partnership with the RWA company, World Mobile, telecom company. So we created an RWA product that delivers 20% APR on stablecoins. So that brings us to today.
Yeah, and you know what? I've been telling my audience for a couple months now. RWA, real world assets, is something that's going to be big in crypto, and everything is eventually going to be tokenized when it comes to the stock market. You name it, they're even tokenizing. I think Peter Schiff is talking about tokenizing silver as well, and other assets out there. But I found your product pretty unique, because a lot of the RWA products that I'm aware of out there in DeFi are always connected with the token. Right, you invest, you get a token that pretty much gives you a pool share, a placement in a vault, right? But with you guys, you're much different. It's 20% fixed APR with a real world asset that just is utilizing stable tokens as your investment, and then also the counter, I guess you could say, any type of foul play or hacks and whatnot. You guys are sending the money straight to the actual investment and not keeping the funds on chain. Can you kind of just go into that and why
Yeah.
you chose that route?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did my due diligence on about 150 different RWA projects. We did research for almost 2 years until we found World Mobile. It's actually a community member that was like, "Hey, you should check World Mobile out," and it turned out being the one that we wanted to integrate. So the good thing about RWAs is the fact that they have consistent, if it's a good business, then recession-proof yield. And when you throw a token in the mix and you tie all the earnings to a token, then that just adds this layer of extra speculation that I believe completely undermines what RWAs are good for, which is the consistency. That's why we pivoted. We built a on-chain lend borrow platform, but the thing is, the bear market and the bull market kind of determines what APY you're going to earn on chain. The volatility goes way down in the bear market. So we started focusing on RWAs and trying to find a good RWA partner, so that because we know that businesses in the real world, if they're good ones, like the telecom industry, for instance, they're very consistent. They have consistent revenue, consistent yield. It's stuff that you can count on. There's not a lot of volatility, and so that's why we wanted to partner with World Mobile. And to your question specifically, we wanted to make this a painless process, a very painless process. So we don't throw a token in the mix. It's just stable coins and 20% APR. You can put in USDC or USDT, the two most popular stable coins. You can put it in on Ethereum mainnet or on Arbitrum, where we launched the vaults on both chains. And from the moment that you put those stable coins in, you're going to start earning 20% APR, which you can either claim to your wallet whenever you want or compound to activate the power of compound interest. And what's actually happening is when you deposit the funds, our smart contract forwards that to World Mobile directly. So we don't even have custody of the funds at Wise. It just forwards them to World Mobile, and then they use that to buy the node infrastructure for either Wi-Fi networks or cell tower networks. So you're either buying a Wi-Fi router or multiple Wi-Fi routers, or those antennas like the ones you see on cell phone towers. And then what World Mobile is doing is, because we own that infrastructure, they're now paying us based on their paying customers who have cell phone bills and then Wi-Fi bills each month. And it's a very profitable business. And World Mobile is trading basically about 70 to 80% of their revenue that they make, they give away to node owners. They're trading that revenue that they're making for the ability to scale, because people can put money in, it buys more nodes, and the nodes earn revenue, and then they scale. So they're trading their revenue for the ability to scale, just like an Airbnb or a Uber model. So the only thing in those vaults is what's coming back from World Mobile. World Mobile sends my company Wise a paycheck every single month based on the amount of nodes that we own. And then we put that back in the vaults, and that's how people are able to claim their 20% APR whenever they want to. So that's how it all works under the hood.
That's interesting because everyone's going to wonder, where does my my yield come from? So it's the paying clients of World Mobile, and I did a little research on them. So they're big in certain areas, and they're spreading right now. So from my understanding, they're very competitive also with price and what they have to offer. Can you explain exactly like where they're mostly located, their business, as far as customers, and how that business is doing, whether it's going up and to the right with new customers on a monthly basis? What do you know from that?
Yeah, so they have currently 3 million, a little over 3 million active paying customers, mostly in Asia. The Asia market is their biggest. They're also in Africa, and they're also in the US as well. Most people don't know, but there's actually 30 million Americans that have either bad internet or no internet. So they World Mobile has a really smart strategy, shall we call it a wise strategy, of going to rural areas first. Because like if you think of most telecom companies, it's a monopoly with the big three players. You got at least in the U.S. it's the same way, but different companies in other countries. But you got T-Mobile, you've got Verizon, and then you have AT&T, I believe, are the big three that own like 95% of the market. But they're old, curmudgeonly companies with tons of overhead. Like you're talking, like Verizon and T-Mobile, they've got 100,000 employees. They've got 7,000 brick and mortar buildings. They've got all this overhead cost. They don't even own their cell phone towers, most of them. Like over 50% of their cell phone towers, they're renting from third parties, which is an additional inefficiency and an added cost. So it's actually very expensive for them to operate. And when you're talking about rural areas, or even like cities that are just, not as big as other cities, it's not profitable for them to put good, strong networks. Like they're not going to make money by going and putting cell phone towers there. So World Mobile is going to those places first. They're going to the underserved regions first, where they are either the only option or one of the only options, and definitely like the better option for internet and then for cell phone. And so Reno, Nevada, for instance, is one of those places. They have a network that covers the whole city of Reno, Nevada. But the US is still their smallest market. It's the hardest to break into. Their biggest market is in Asia, and it's with the Wi-Fi routers, where they have a agreement with a fiber optic cable company. And they are basically supplying these Wi-Fi routers that earn from people that are either in the household or passing through and using that internet. And so what's happening is you got all these Wi-Fi routers that are about $50 a pop, and then every single month they're earning a few dollars in net profits. And so that is the best and most stable business model that they have. About 2 million of their 3 million customers are those Wi-Fi routers in Asia. And if you want to talk about like the trajectory, we launched our vaults last January. And at that time, they had about 850,000 paying subscribers that were either paying Wi-Fi or paying their cell phone bills. Now they've got over 3 million. So that's more than 3x in 1 year. And if you look at the trajectory, it's ramping up. So you're seeing hundreds of thousands of people join every single month. They're also breaking into new areas. Like they're going to be in Mexico this year in a big way. They've got a huge deal with the government even for creating these cell phone towers. And they want to be everywhere. They're starting in the rural areas that make the most sense first, and then they're going to grow. They're also pioneering the technology too, because you've got like the antennas that are on buildings and cell phone towers. That's for the city. And then in between the cities, if you're traveling in a car or a boat or a plane, or you just live in a rural area, they are actually developing their own technology. They started with tethered blimps, like 75-foot long blimps that were tethered in the sky 3,000 feet, and then putting equipment on that, which is much cheaper and does the same thing as about 8 to 12 cell phone towers do. So they're very smart and innovative with their R&D and like trying new things out. Whereas like the big carriers, Verizon isn't doing R&D, and they're just running their company the way they always have for the past several decades. And then lately, World Mobile is working on their stratospheric platforms, which they chose to do because it's better than satellites. Satellites are too far up in the sky. There's it makes latency. There's like a latency issue for satellites, and also a cost issue compared to doing the stratosphere, which is, instead of being hundreds of kilometers up in the sky, it's just 20,000 meters in the sky. That's where the stratosphere is. The latency is like only a fraction of what it is if you compare it to space. And what they're doing is they have acquired a company that has been developing stratospheric drones, so unmanned aerial craft that flies in the stratosphere. They put like almost $200 million of research into this company, and not World Mobile, but the company developing this for 2 decades. And then World Mobile bought them out for pennies on the dollar just recently, just this past October, I believe. So now they have got all this research and stratospheric platforms, and all that to say, they are not renting other people's cell phone networks and Wi-Fi networks. They're making their own, and they've got a plan to do this not just for the rural areas, but for the whole world too. So that, you know, you got your cities, and then in between the cities, they've got their stratospheric platforms to do all that coverage too. So it's a very innovative company. It's a very lean company. They have less than 100 employees, and yet they're doing a lot. And what they want to do is they want to bring connectivity to the whole world. And so we're here for it. We want to fund them in their efforts. And it's a really good business model, because at the end of the day, if you think about, do people pay their cell phone bills and Wi-Fi bills? Yes, they do. And is the money that they pay for those bills, is that stable? Well, think about, like, when is the last time your cell phone bill changed? Like, it probably doesn't change in years. You're like on a plan and you pay every single month. That's the way the telecom network is. It's very stable. It's very recession proof. So that's why we were able to say, hey, we're going to do fixed 20% yield. And we are extremely confident that we can deliver that. And that's why we created these vaults.
Yeah, I'm confident too when you talk about the delivery of what you can pay through the vaults too, because I was a sales rep many moons ago with Virgin Media, and when they launched Virgin Mobile, but first with Virgin Media when they jumped into fiber optics over in the UK. And they were very small at the time, because fiber optics was brand spanking new in the UK. And the first 5 years, it just, like you said, they 3x'd in a year. The growth is insane as people adopt this new technology, and then it's cheaper than the old stuff, and things start to evolve. And they were a small company back then. I actually talked with Richard Bronson back in the day. I didn't even know who he was. It was over the phone.
Wow.
And he was pitching us how to sell his product, the people in the UK. And I watched just fiber optic cable, the Virgin Mobile launch. I was there for that and watched it all just blow up. And sounds like a really early opportunity to be involved with World Mobile, which is good, because in the next 5 years, you're going to see, a massive, probably from 3x to 5x to 10x as they expand, not only in Asia right now, but, in the US and these rural areas. And there's a lot of desert out here. The internet sucks. Verizon gets cut off in certain areas, and everything has to do with the towers that you talked about, which they don't own, right? And it's interesting because most people don't know much about that. But yeah, I like what I'm hearing. I want to take a look too. That way I can show people the platform here, and you can kind of just walk us through, what you have going on here. I know you mentioned right now, as far as the 20% fixed APR, they can go. I have it right here. I have in the description of the video and going across to the live stream, if anyone wants to check it out, app.wiselending.com /RWA vaults. I see here I can choose my chain, and what is the layout here, so you kind of explain to people how they can get involved and what they're doing.
Yeah. So you connect to your wallet in the upper right-hand corner, just like most DeFi apps. And then once you do that, you are all set to be able to deposit. If you have any stable coins in your wallet, you just hit the blue button for open position. And then you put in how much you want to deposit. I see you got an open position here. And then once you deposited, you have this view position button that's going to ask you to, well, first of all, it's going to show you your rewards. It'll show you how much you have earned since you started that position. Then it'll show you how much interest you have right now that you can either claim or compound. And then we have our withdraw as well. This is something that we created. We created the secondary market for World Mobile because it doesn't exist. There's no way to sell the nodes. But with our vaults, you can sell the position. So that's a big thing for our investors, because you want to be liquid. Some emergency might come up, or sometimes you just need the money, or the markets change and you want to be able to utilize it. So we created a way for people to withdraw, which is basically, if you want to get out, you create a sell order. Let's say you put $10,000 in, you can create a sell order for up to $10,000. And what's going to happen is all new money coming into the vaults is going to buy out your sell order first, and it'll be the exact same amount that you put in. So you put in 10,000, you can put a sell order for 10,000 USDC, and then when 10,000 comes into the vault, you'll be processed out. And we haven't had a lot of sell orders, but they get processed out pretty fast. Even the ones that are $10,000, I haven't seen them sit there for more than a week without getting bought out. And you can actually see the sell order history too. Not in this tab, but on the like where the World Mobile logo is, there's like sell orders there, and you can see there's no sell orders now. But if you go to the history, you can see all the sell orders that happened. They've all been completed. There's been over $60,000 worth of sell orders since November, a couple months ago. So so they do get processed out if you need the money. And there's a lot of volume going into our vaults too. So it's pretty liquid, even though it's not like an instant get your money back if you need to get it. The key really, like when I was doing my due diligence here, trying to understand exactly how safe these things are, the key for me is the fact it's the ownership of the nodes. So the fact that Wise owns these nodes that make up the cell phone network and the Wi-Fi networks, that's huge, because that means if World Mobile were to disappear for whatever reason, we can run those independently or sell them to a different telecom company for the value of the hardware too. So we own the thing that's most valuable in a telecom network, which is the actual nodes that are providing the internet. That gives me a whole lot of safety, so I don't have to trust World Mobile to do anything. Like, I'm really happy they're doing very well, but I know at the end of the day, I'm not losing sleep at night worrying about, are they going to go away, because I own the nodes. I have ownership of the nodes that I purchased. So I can run those independently or sell them for parts if need be. So that compared to other RWAs is really what was really the kicker for me, because that's very safe compared to like what is the worst case scenario that happens? Well, World Mobile goes away, we still own the nodes, we run them independently. That's not that bad. That's a pretty decent worst case scenario for me compared to everything else that I was looking at.
Yeah, I've been playing around with it for the past couple of weeks too. I have a couple wallets that I've gone in with, and then I've done the sell order to test it out. It took like a couple of days, and then I was like, oh, okay. So I went back in, and then I noticed on one of my wallets, I was looking at it yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm watching my interest come in real time. You'll see the numbers just start to move up.
I really love that. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can see your position. And that's why we gotta have the 6 decimal places there. Because even if you put in $10 in there, because there's 6 decimal places, you can see it tick up. On Ethereum, it's like every 9 seconds. And then on Arbitrum, it's every 3 seconds. But yeah, I love that too, because it really gets the point across that, hey, you're earning money every couple of seconds.
Yeah, in DeFi, like when the website's sticky and you can see those numbers, it's exciting. So I go on one of my wallets where I did an example here so we can show on camera with the $100. But as we're watching this, you'll see the numbers continue to just increase. I think this one's got 32 cents in interest for just $100. But if you're a user with $100,000, you're going to be seeing dollar amounts start to go throughout the day. And just for simple math, $100,000 with a fixed APR of 20%, that's $20,000 a year. But the power of compounding, because you can literally come on here, compound once a day, maybe once a week, once a month, and really start to see that grow. Is there I don't know, because a lot of people would probably get crazy with the compounding on the spreadsheet. Do you think you'll maybe add something where people can see, like, if they compound weekly, monthly, every 90 days?
Yeah, 100%. You know, Aave just came out with their new app, right? And I love the compound interest calculator in there that shows, like, if you keep on putting in $50 every single month, this is what you're gonna have in 30 years. Like, I love that feature. I definitely want to add that to our app too, because a lot of people don't even understand the power of compound interest, where if you have something that consistently brings yield over a period of 5, 10, 25 years, like, it's multiplying by like 25x, 50x, 100x. You know, compound interest really starts working for you the longer you let it go. And for someone that wants to make a retirement account to pay for their, you know, like maybe their children's college or something like that, or if you just want to save money, eventually buy a house or something, saving up over a long period of time, if you're able to utilize compound interest, that's a very powerful tool. And you can here, whereas most apps you can't, because the interest is variable. So you don't know what you're going to get. And often in the bear markets, it's going to be like close to 0% APY anyway. And it's just going to be like, you know, high APY for a short amount of time. Here, it's fixed 20% APR consistently. You can count on it for years to come. And so if you want to compound that every week, every day, every month, whatever, then that's going to work for you, especially talking about the longer you leave it in and let it compound. So yeah, that's super powerful. I definitely want to add that feature to show, you know, give a little compound interest calculator as soon as we can. We got relatively small teams, so we're working hard. We do a lot of updates, but I would like to have that feature soon.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, it's already awesome as is, but that would put the little cherry on top, because a lot of the APRs you find out there in the real world and even in crypto, they with compounding, even if you compounded, you're not going to really, I guess, surpass inflation, right?
Yeah.
So with something like this, you would do really well compounding and letting your money sit and grow during the bear, during the bull, because I believe that you should always have stable tokens, no matter what it is and what cycle. And I'd rather have most of my money sitting, earning a fixed APR. 20% is a beautiful thing. Which leads me to my next question, because I know World Mobile is a very fruitful opportunity, so much room to expand and grow, especially more in the US and other countries. Are you satisfied or staying with just this? Are you looking at other companies that you want to bring on board with the same type of opportunity, or what's next for you?
I'm still looking for other companies, but I haven't found any that are remotely close, to be honest. The reason that World Mobile stands out is not just because it's good APY, but it's the fact that they're scalable too. Like, they're not infinitely scalable, but they can take on about $30 million this year. So we can put $30 million into these vaults, and World Mobile is going to be able to put that to work and deliver a return on that. Looking at other platforms, it's either, like you said, they got a token in the mix, and we're not going to touch it if it's got a token in the mix. Doesn't matter how juicy it looks. Like, it doesn't make sense. We want to see we want to see a sound business model with real world returns that we just want to be able to give to people, and the best way to do that is with stable coins. If you throw any type of speculative asset into the mix of that, then you just added another variable that can go wrong for you. And like I said in the beginning, we want to make this a painless experience to earn. And most of crypto is not a painless experience. So we're trying to make like the most painless experience. Just earn your 20% APR, compound it, earn 22%. And it's definitely going to beat inflation. Compared to pretty much anything else you do, and including like putting in the stock market for S&P 500 or whatever. People are seeing about 7% returns generally in the stock market. Well, this is 20%, and it doesn't matter if this is going up, stock market's going up or down, you're still going to get 20% APR every single year.
Yeah, painless is important because in crypto, there's a saying where they say no pain, no gain, but sometimes in crypto, it's all pain and no gain. So
Yeah.
not having that, speculative asset linked to this, like a lot of other projects do, I think it was a great move on your, on your behalf to do that and just keep it stable. It's USDC. I guess you just pick personal preference, right? USDC if you want to do that, USDT. I noticed USDC is pretty dominant with 664,000 right now on ETH,
Yeah.
about 25,000 on USDT. Let's go take a look at Arbitrum really quick here. About 114,000 USDC versus a little under 11K for USDT. So it looks like more people are going with USDT or USDC. I guess based off personal preference would be my guess on what they decide to hold. But let me jump over to the white paper too, because a lot of people will always be skeptical. I know we hit on it, how it's how the vault is safe versus attacks. And then talking about the vault APR, the possibility of that changing. In what case scenario would it change? Do you think it will change, or how would you explain that?
I don't think it's going to change unless it goes up. I've talked with World Mobile extensively with this. I talked with their CEO Mickey. Really before we created the vaults, I had many conversations with them to really truly understand what their business model is, and like what the effects would be. And so I came to the conclusion that we can sustainably do 20% APR pretty much indefinitely. If like cell phone plans and Wi-Fi plans, they're a growing need, and I don't think that's going to change. Like maybe in the next 10, 20 years, AI just completely changes the world as we know it, and something else will be more important. But for the foreseeable future, people really need internet, and the best way to provide that internet is through a telecom network. That's the way you get these things. So I don't see it. I don't see it going lower than 20, because their business model is sustainable. They're not like juicing the rewards to try to attract customers. This is raw. It's what you get with their business model right now. And as they become more efficient, they can unlock more APY too. Once they grow. So there's ways for them to become more efficient, for their stuff to be cheaper as they scale as a network too. But as far as where they are right now, 3 million active paying customers, that's a good amount of people. Their business model is working really well. It's proven by now. They've been doing this for years, and things aren't really changing. If anything, things should get better. There should be better opportunities. Like for instance, Reno is just one city. There's only a few $1 million worth of cell phone antennas in Reno, and those are already owned by people. But those are earning like really high APY, like more than 20%. And so they're doing, like, everywhere I look, they're doing really well, and they're making smart business decisions. And so all the customers as well are on 1 year rolling contracts, just like most people are on in the US or anywhere with cell phone plans. They're usually like 1 year rolling contracts. So like if people start canceling those contracts, that would be some early warning of, hey, their customers are dropping off, they're not able to grow. But that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing that there's only about 7% turnover in contracts, but that they're growing exponentially. They're adding hundreds of thousands of new customers every single year. And like for Asia, for instance, the potential to grow is a lot. Currently, there's 120,000 nodes, which are those Wi-Fi routers connected to the fiber optic cable. But there's been a lot of fiber optic cable laid to the point where it can support 5 million nodes. There's 120,000 now. So we're like right now we're at 120,000 of 5 million potential, and that's just that one Asia market. So there's plenty of room to grow. There's no reason for the business model to break. There's not really a lot of competition at all right now. Like the big carriers are just like they're not innovating, and they don't really care to compete in the rural areas. And if you're there's just not a lot of good options. So it's pretty clear sailing for at least the next 5 years or so. And if competitors do arise, it's not like World Mobile is going to die and become not a company anymore. Like they're doing really smart things, providing a great service. They also provide great customer service too. That's one thing that sets them apart from the big carriers. People like World Mobile. People like using World Mobile as a network, and they're just doing a really great job, killing it on all fronts. And at the end of the day, since we own the actual nodes, if they stop doing their job and like we can run it independently, and like it's not like it wouldn't be as easy as flipping a switch for us to do that. It would take some work, but we can take over and run the network independently if we need to. But yeah, long answer to your question, but no, I don't see the APY changing. If it does, then there would be a lot of early warning for sure. And I think, in the next 5 years, it's more likely to go up, 5% or so than it would be to go down. Because there's, it's a really good business, and there's no reason in sight for it to be impacted.
No, absolutely. They're in the infant stages as far as the business to grow, a significant amount from here. And competition is always good. It's not like the end of the world. It just, they keep innovating, keep giving you, more bang for your buck, whatever it may be, to keep your business, and it's overall good. Let's connect the dots here though for a minute, because 20% APR fixed, that's a beautiful thing. I think a lot of people are going to take advantage of that. In my opinion, you'd be a fool not to research and find your way there. But let's connect it to the original, with as far as Wise and what's going to happen for those users now, because I know the dots are going to connect as far as a burning mechanism and something that would be utilized for Wise. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when we still have our pool, our ETH Wise pool on Uniswap. It's got almost 200 million in liquidity right now. It's actually the #1 pool on Uniswap for any version 2, version 3, version 4. And it's an ownerless pool. We like one of the cool things about project was when we created that liquidity, we burned the LP keys. So those are sitting in a burn address, and it just means the liquidity can't be rugged. It's not owned by anybody, and it can't be taken away. So $200 million of Wise ETH liquidity is there. And the business model for the Wise ecosystem is, hey, we got this liquidity for Wise on Uniswap. We're going to now create revenue streams, and we're going to use those revenue streams to buy back our token and burn it. And it's taken us 5 years to get here, but by the end of the year, we're going to have enough revenue that we can, not only just pay for my small dev team's expenses, but we'll be able to start buying and burning Wise. And, hopefully we can scale up in the vaults to hit somewhere between 15 and 25 million by the end of the year in total value locked. And that will get us there to the point where we're able to buy and burn millions of dollars of Wise with the fees that we're making on the vaults. By the way, there's right now it shows on our website that there's like $814,000 total value locked on the vaults. That's just on chain. I also have private investors that have approached me that said, I don't want to deal with stable coins. I want to send a wire. And so they sent a wire directly to World Mobile, and then my team is managing their accounts for them. So we actually have 1.7 million total value locked in the vaults. This is our old website, by the way, on wisetoken.net. But our new one, we're actually going to migrate everything over to the wiselending.com. We're going to migrate staking over and all that stuff. But yep, as you can see, $198 million of liquidity for Wise ETH. And the buying and burning of Wise is going to start later this year. So, you know, it's going to be a slow burn, but as we increase the amount of money that we're making as a platform, that increases the amount that we can buy and burn for Wise. And this is the ultimate goal that we set out to do 5 years ago, and it's finally coming to fruition this year, which is pretty exciting for me personally.
Yeah, it's a really good thing that you kept at it too, because a lot of people would just, you know, I think 90% of the devs out there walk away from their platforms. They throw their hands up, move on, get new projects going. But you kept building and building and building, half a decade, you know, and that shows a lot that you're resilient and you're not going to give up. Refresh my memory too, because for Wise token, what do you know the current supply right now off the top of your head?
I don't know the exact supply. It's very close to 600 million total.
Okay.
Yeah, there's with Wise token, there's 4% inflation per year. So
Okay.
our supply inflates by a little bit every single year, and that's given to stakers. So you can avoid the inflation completely if you have your Wise staked.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been to these sites, but so that's good. 4% inflation, but then you're gonna have burning mechanics that are gonna take place and you know, I guess combat that and have less supply coming out every year. And then as far as the lending, I know that the RWA vaults are pretty much on the same platform. Is that something that's that you're still people are still participating? I don't think I ever got into that aspect of it, but
Yeah,
just the
so
Wise token.
yeah, are you talking about? Yeah, this is our on-chain lend borrow service. We actually had at the peak, we had a little over 2 million total value locked on here. And we actually had some cool looping strategies. We built some farms, some yield farms on top of Pendle. Back when Pendle was offering some really good APYs, we did some looping farm strategies. And so you know, at the height of that, we were seeing like anywhere from 10 to 30% APY in our on-chain lending pools. But you know, that didn't last. Most of that was coming from the Athena protocol, which is a really good like stablecoin protocol. But you know, their APY and their stablecoin was like 32% at the height of the bull, and now it's like less than 5%. So the farming strategies didn't last more than a few months. We still have this, you know, wonderful on-chain lend borrow protocol. It's lacking liquidity right now. As you can see, some of the pools are kind of sparse. But as our revenue comes in, we're going to start seeding those pools too, because our niche here is we're a lend borrow protocol, just like Aave, but we're also going to integrate these farming strategies that do looping and folding to be able to do like high APY farms with leverage, like on top of another product like Pendle, for instance. So full DeFi degen stuff that is dealing with like safe on-chain yield productive activities. So that's my next goal, to, you know, get our on-chain protocol at like 50 to 100 million total value locked. But my first goal is to get about 25 million total value locked in our RWA vaults, because this is the bread and butter right here, like consistent 20% APR. That's it. Like, it's hard to knock that. And this is going to be a much bigger money maker compared to the on-chain lending. Like for the same TVL in these vaults, talking about the fees that Wise makes as a company that we can use to buy and burn, you would need like 10 times more TVL for the on-chain protocol because the APY is much lower. So we want both for sure, because RWAs, like World Mobile, is not infinitely scalable. So once we grow to the point where we're hitting the caps on our vaults, we definitely need more options. And the on-chain lending is one of those options. But for right now, these vaults are wide open. There's millions that can go in, and they're going to provide like a great service for people for years to come. If you get in before we start hitting the caps where World Mobile is saying, hey, we can only take this amount of expansion for the next month or so. So we're not hitting those caps anytime too soon, unless somebody's going to drop in tens of millions of dollars immediately, which could happen, I guess, but I don't think so. We've been growing pretty steadily. But right now, the opportunity is ripe for anyone to take advantage of this for this year, for sure.
Yeah, my brain's just going, kind of circling ideas right now where I always look at it as like $100,000 investment opportunity. Like we talked about earlier, that's $20,000 a year plus more on top of your compound. So it's like you can loop the system as far as if I were to do that, it would be, 10% compound, 10% out to invest into Wise token for the next year until you hit your goals that you project by the end of the year, to start burning the token and getting a good price point, DCAing, using the fixed APR, kind of, not fully compounding all of it, but taking some out just to DCA into Wise while this grows. Seems like a good opportunity. And then that actually becomes, with compounding over time, basically free money into Wise, which is a speculative asset that can do, X's. So that's how I think. And I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's a game plan.
Totally makes sense. Yeah, it totally makes sense. Actually, several of our community members are doing just that, putting money in the vaults, and then the interest they're making, they're using some of that to buy Wise. The thing about Wise, Wise has a price floor in Ethereum. That's because we locked so much ETH up in our liquidity pool. So we are right at our price floor right now. And if you create a stake in Wise, you're going to be earning at least 10% APY on, we're talking about staking Wise token. What that means is right now, since we're right at the price floor for ETH, it's mathematically impossible for you to walk away with less ETH than you started with. For instance, if you use 1 ETH right now, swap it into Wise tokens, and then stake those Wise tokens, because we're at our ETH price floor, and because you're making 10% or more APY on the Wise stake, it's impossible for there to be a scenario where when it's time for you to sell your Wise tokens back into the ETH, it's impossible for you to have less ETH than when you started. So that's like a little known secret in our community. There's a lot of people that have swapped their ETH and are staking Wise just because of that, because we are currently at our price floor after 5 years of a lot of people selling and still having a ton of liquidity. We are at our price floor right now, within 5% of it, and staking Wise will get you better returns in ETH. So I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, ETH is dead or whatever. I don't think ETH is dead. I think ETH is still going to be a good asset long term. So if you believe in the value of ETH over a long period, then buying Wise and staking it could be a good option for you too.
Yeah, I believe that people will continue to build on Ethereum for a long time to come. It's the beginning of the smart contracts that we see out there today and why DeFi exists. And there's a lot of money going into it right now. So it's the blue chip next to Bitcoin, the gold and silver in the industry. You got a lot of other platforms also. I noticed on where you can choose a network, is it Kai testnet? You're going to be adding another blockchain eventually.
Yeah, we can put our that's the cool thing about RWAs, because you can put it on any blockchain that you want. So you can accept stable coins from anywhere, and then it's just going off chain anyway to World Mobile. So the key network, it's actually a network that my devs built. So we built that layer 1. It's launching soon too. It's a Latin America based, like they want to be the Binance, except not for Asia, for Latin America. It's a centralized exchange. They got the blockchain now, and they've got their own token too that they're about to launch. So that's just there because we built it for them, and so it's key test nets. But yeah, we also want to put a vault there once they're fully live on mainnet too, just for, they've got like 100,000 people in their community too. So those Latin America based people can have a chance to put money in the vaults too, if that's the network that they're going to be in. But yeah, that's the cool thing about our vaults. Like we can launch them on any blockchain because it's an RWA based thing. The yield isn't tied to any specific chain.
Oh, cool. So like if people are saying, hey, Peter, get BNB, Binance Smart Chain or Base, it's just like kind of a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah. If there's a demand for it, like obviously I got to pay my developers to like launch another contract and then integrate it into the front end. But it's feasible, like less than a month, for us to be able to spin up more vaults on different blockchains. So if there's a demand for it, if there's like a community that's like, hey, we've got X millions of dollars and we'd love to put them in the vaults, but we just don't want to mess with Ethereum, or we don't want to mess with Arbitrum, can you come over to our chain? Then sure, yeah, we'll launch on your chain if you'd like us to.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm a big fan of pretty much BNB, Base. I'm still on Arbitrum a little bit here and there, but those are two good options. Well, Arbitrum's cheap, so a lot of people are over there. But other than that, I feel like we covered a pretty much a lot of what I was curious about. Picking your brain. Is there anything that we might have missed that you want to hit on, or anything like that you could think of?
Yeah, I got those cards at the bottom of the sites that we just updated them too. So they've got really good information. Like the first one has got links to World Mobile stuff that's relevant. The last one is the middle one is like World Mobile company information. They're a London-based company. And then the last one is risk considerations. And this is like really good information for you to do your due diligence with. We also, of course, have our Gitbook documents that has even more details about the business model. But this is something that I did my due diligence on for a long time. Like I said, I went through about 150 other protocols before I found this one. In doing my due diligence, I actually went to their sites. Like I didn't take their word for it. I went down to Reno, Nevada, they took me on the tour of all the rooftops where they had their antennas. They showed me their computer systems, where they're running their network. And I saw it all. Like the only thing I haven't seen is Asia, but I've seen a lot of video footage of Asia as well. So these guys are absolutely legit. The telecom business model is a very strong one. It's a very consistent one. And that's why I decided to put it on our platform and make it like the flagship product for what we're doing here. So I'm really proud of these vaults. I'm really happy that other people like them, and that we have almost $2 million total value locked in the vaults right now. And yeah, I really appreciate community members, and then people like you who have got followings and YouTube channels to take an interest and really help us get the word out. So thank you so much. I am really appreciative of that. And I think since you made your first piece of content, we've seen a lot of activity come in the vaults too, which I believe is at least partially from your followers. So I want to give a big thank you to you too, because you're helping us grow. You're helping us reach our goals here at the Wise ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely going to keep on, trucking along and showing people this opportunity. I got a lot of people there on the hook. They were like, hey, I was like, hey, you got all these questions for me. I'm going to be interviewing Peter coming up. And they're like, oh, I'm going to tune in because, they have staples, like I've always preached to my group. And they're like, where should I put it? And a lot of them are yield farming, providing liquidity here and there. I'm like, hey, man, there's 20% APR sitting right here for you. and it's a real world asset, you're going to see a lot of these pop up in crypto, but you're also going to see them connected directly to a speculative asset that could really, flop hard. And this is just strictly, stable tokens in, compound, sit back, relax. Like you mentioned, I sleep good at night, and I wake up and I have it on my screen. I'm watching the numbers tick, continue to go up.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
so
just a lot of fun. Yeah, that's what DeFi is all about. It's about having fun. And then it just turned into a big, uh, a big casino of losing money. But this is a good opportunity where I would consider, your smart money would be jumping all over this, as long as the word gets out and people start to realize it's a good opportunity to not only DCA into Wise token, like I mentioned, but you can use that to DCA into, maybe some other opportunities just strictly from earning. And it's basically just it's a printer in the smartest form possible, which is stables. And I'm a big believer in that. So I appreciate what you put together, and I look forward to revisiting Wise and being on this journey for the next year, because that's another big opportunity with the buy and burn. And I'm gonna have to connect with you on that and get kind of up to par and start bringing back the Wise content, because
awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much for joining me tonight, Peter. Thank you, everybody that joined us. Don't forget to smash the like button, drop a comment, and then I'll always invite you to come down the road once things are starting to evolve, anything new happens, and maybe we can have another interview going into the next phase for Wise token as well, and spread the word.
Anytime you want, I'm here, man. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was an honor having you. Something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So finally got that check marked, and the bucket list off the bucket list. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Peter. Links are in the description. Head over to app.wiselending.com /RWA vault. You can get that 20% fixed APR and start earning today. All right, guys. Have a great night, everybody.